Beloved soul, before you hear another word, pay attention to the strange feeling that brought you here. Out of millions of videos, millions of voices, and millions of distractions, something guided you to this exact moment. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was hope. Or maybe it was something much deeper. Because today is not about random coincidence. Today is about a name. A name that may already be moving toward your life. A name that may already exist somewhere in your story. And what you are about to discover is not what most people expect. Many people spend years searching for a face. Others search for a message. Some search for a sign. But very few people stop and think about the power hidden inside a name. Every great chapter of your life began with a name. Every unforgettable person entered your world carrying a name. Every connection started with a name. And tonight, I want you to stay with me until the very end because the final revelation may completely change the way you think about your soulmate. There is a reason you clicked on a title about a soulmate's name. Not a soulmate's appearance. Not a soulmate's age. Not a soulmate's location. A name. And that detail matters more than you realize. Imagine this. Somewhere in the world, there is a person who has laughed without knowing your story. They have looked at the stars without knowing your dreams. They have walked through difficult seasons without knowing your struggles. Yet somehow, their path and your path continue moving closer. Day after day. Moment after moment. Decision after decision. The distance between your lives becomes smaller. And one day, the universe places you in the same chapter. Most people think love begins at the first conversation. But what if it begins much earlier? What if the connection starts before the meeting? What if the energy starts before the introduction? What if your soul already recognizes something that your eyes have not yet seen? Take a moment and think about the names that keep appearing around you. Not once. Not twice. But repeatedly. The name you randomly hear in conversations. The name you see online. The name that appears in movies, songs, comments, books, or unexpected places. Have you ever wondered why certain names seem to follow you? Why some names appear once and disappear forever, while others keep returning? Some people call it coincidence. Others call it pattern recognition. But many believe there is something deeper happening. A hidden signal. A whisper. A clue. Now, listen carefully. This next part is important. Your soulmate's name may not shock you because it is unusual. It may shock you because it is familiar. The biggest surprise is often not discovering a completely unknown name. The biggest surprise is realizing that the name has been around you all along. Maybe it belonged to an old friend. Maybe it appeared in childhood. Maybe it was mentioned years ago and you forgot. Maybe it has quietly followed you through different stages of your life. And one day, everything suddenly makes sense. Imagine looking back and realizing the signs were everywhere. Imagine realizing that the universe kept dropping clues while you were focused on something else. Imagine discovering that what felt random was actually preparing you for a future moment. That possibility alone is enough to send chills down your spine. Because life is filled with mysteries we only understand after they happen. Think about all the people who entered your life unexpectedly. The friend you never planned to meet. The opportunity you never expected. The conversation that changed everything. None of them arrived according to your schedule. They arrived according to timing. And timing is one of the greatest mysteries of all. Right now, someone watching this feels tired. You have waited. You have hoped. You have questioned whether your person even exists. You have watched others find love while your own story seemed delayed. You have wondered if you missed your chance. If that is you, hear this carefully. A delayed chapter is not a denied chapter. Some stories take longer because they are still being written. Some connections require growth before they can happen. Some meetings require preparation before they can begin. And sometimes the waiting has a purpose you cannot yet see. Now let me tell you something fascinating. Many people become obsessed with finding the exact name of their soulmate. They search endlessly. They want certainty. They want proof. They want answers. But what if the real surprise is not the name itself? What if the real surprise is the person attached to it? Because a name alone cannot love you. A name alone cannot understand you. A name alone cannot stand beside you during difficult times. The true miracle is the soul behind the name. And yet names carry energy. They carry stories. They carry identity. They carry meaning. Some names instantly create emotion. Some names remind us of specific memories. Some names stay in our minds for years. That is why this message matters. Not because we are predicting a future with absolute certainty, but because we are opening ourselves to possibilities. And possibilities are powerful. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine receiving a message tomorrow. Imagine meeting someone next week. Imagine having a conversation that feels different from every conversation before it. There is no dramatic lightning strike. No movie soundtrack. No giant announcement from the sky. Just a strange sense of familiarity. A feeling that you have known this person longer than you actually have. A feeling that your soul relaxes around them. A feeling that you do not need to pretend. That feeling is often more powerful than any prediction. Because authenticity cannot be faked forever. Real connection reveals itself. And when it does, everything changes. The shocking part is that many people expect their soulmate to match a fantasy. Then life introduces them to someone completely different. Different appearance. Different background. Different expectations. Different story. Yet somehow, the connection is stronger than anything they imagined. That is why you must remain open. Because sometimes the greatest blessing arrives in unexpected packaging. Now, here is a challenge. Think about the first letter that immediately comes into your mind. Do not force it. Do not analyze it. Simply notice it. A letter. A sound. A feeling. There is a reason intuition fascinates people. Because sometimes it notices things before logic catches up. Does that mean every thought is a prophecy? No. But it does mean that paying attention can reveal surprising patterns. And patterns often tell stories. The next revelation may surprise you. Many people spend so much time searching for their soulmate that they forget to become the person their soulmate is searching for. Read that again in your heart. While looking for someone extraordinary, are you becoming extraordinary? While searching for loyalty, are you practicing loyalty? While seeking honesty, are you living honestly? While hoping for deep love, are you learning how to love deeply? Because the strongest relationships are not built by perfect people. They are built by growing people. People willing to learn. People willing to heal. People willing to evolve. And when two growing souls meet, something remarkable happens. The connection becomes stronger than attraction. Stronger than excitement. Stronger than temporary emotion. It becomes meaningful. And meaning lasts. Now let us return to the mystery of the name. What if the shocking discovery is not finding a new name? What if it is recognizing a name you already know? What if someone already exists within your wider story? What if the future is closer than you think? What if the next chapter has already begun quietly behind the scenes? Think about that. While you were worrying. While you were doubting. While you were questioning. Life may have been arranging things you could not see. Opportunities you could not predict. Meetings you could not plan. Connections you could not imagine. That possibility is exciting because it reminds us that the story is not over. As long as you are breathing, new chapters remain possible. New introductions remain possible. New beginnings remain possible. And sometimes all it takes is one moment. One conversation. One glance. One decision. One name. Before this message ends, I want you to remember something powerful. Your worth is not determined by whether you have already met your soulmate. Your value is not measured by your relationship status. Your future is not limited by your past disappointments. You are still becoming. You are still growing. You are still moving toward experiences you cannot yet see. And somewhere ahead, there may be a name that changes everything. Not because the letters themselves are magical, but because the person carrying that name arrives at exactly the right moment. The moment when lessons become wisdom. The moment when waiting becomes understanding. The moment when hope becomes reality. And when that day arrives, you may look back at this very moment and smile. Because the surprise was never just the name. The surprise was the journey. The surprise was the timing. The surprise was discovering that life had been leading you forward all along. So keep your heart open. Keep your eyes open. Keep your spirit open. The story is still unfolding. The next chapter has not been written yet. And somewhere between today's uncertainty and tomorrow's possibilities, a name is waiting to become unforgettable. A name that may one day make perfect sense. A name connected to a person whose arrival changes your world. And when that moment comes, you will understand why every twist, every delay, every mystery, and every unanswered question led you exactly where you needed to be. The name will matter. But the soul behind it will matter even more. And that is the revelation most people never see coming. And now, beloved soul, the mystery goes even deeper. Because if you have stayed until this moment, you are no longer listening to a simple message about a name. You are standing at the edge of a revelation that most people never allow themselves to consider. What if your soulmate has already heard about you? Not met you. Not spoken to you. Not seen your face. But somehow heard about you. Think about that for a moment. Right now, somewhere in the world, conversations are happening that you know nothing about. People are meeting. Families are talking. Friends are sharing stories. Names are being mentioned. Plans are being made. And hidden inside all those conversations could be a thread connected to your future. Life is strange that way. Sometimes the most important chapter of your life begins while you are completely unaware of it. You wake up thinking it is an ordinary day. You follow your normal routine. You do the same things you always do. Yet behind the scenes, the pieces are moving. The stage is being prepared. The doors are opening. And destiny is quietly rearranging the path ahead. This is why so many people miss the signs. They expect something dramatic. A giant announcement. A supernatural event. A voice from the sky. But most life-changing moments arrive quietly. A message. A recommendation. An introduction. A coincidence that does not feel like a coincidence. And then suddenly everything changes. Now I want you to imagine a room. A room you have never entered. A conversation you have never heard. A group of people discussing someone they know. Among the many names being spoken, one name appears. Your name. Not because you forced it. Not because you planned it. But because somehow your story has started touching another story. And this is where things become fascinating. Many people believe soul connections are built long before the meeting. They believe two lives begin moving toward each other years in advance. Different cities. Different circumstances. Different experiences. Yet somehow the distance keeps shrinking. A decision here. A choice there. A missed opportunity. A new beginning. Every event pushes the stories closer together. Until one day, the separation disappears. And when it happens, people often say the same thing. It felt like we were supposed to meet. Not because they predicted it. Not because they knew it. But because something about the connection felt familiar. Almost as if their souls recognized each other before their minds could understand. Now listen carefully. This next part may be the most important revelation of all. The name you are searching for is not the only thing searching. The person attached to that name may also be searching. Maybe not consciously. Maybe not intentionally. But searching nonetheless. Searching for understanding. Searching for peace. Searching for connection. Searching for someone who feels real in a world filled with masks. Because true soul connections are rarely one-sided. The longing exists on both sides. The curiosity exists on both sides. The unanswered questions exist on both sides. And that is why timing matters so much. Meeting too early can create confusion. Meeting too late can create regret. But meeting at the right moment can create transformation. Think about your own journey. All the lessons. All the heartbreaks. All the victories. All the disappointments. Would you be the same person today without them? Probably not. Every experience shaped you. Every challenge taught you something. Every setback gave you wisdom. And maybe those lessons were not obstacles. Maybe they were preparation. Preparation for the person whose name you are wondering about right now. Now I want to tell you a story. Imagine a person walking through life feeling as though something is missing. Not because their life is empty. Not because they are unhappy. But because there is a space inside them that remains unfilled. They achieve goals. They build their future. They keep moving forward. Yet the feeling remains. A quiet feeling. A feeling that someone important has not arrived yet. Years pass. Nothing changes. Then one day, a name appears. At first it means nothing. Just another name. Just another introduction. Just another conversation. But then something strange happens. The name keeps returning. The conversations become deeper. The connection becomes stronger. And eventually they realize that the missing piece was never missing. It was simply on its way. That story is repeated thousands of times throughout life. Not because destiny follows one exact formula, but because meaningful connections often arrive unexpectedly. And unexpected things are what make life unforgettable. Now here is something that might surprise you. The people who find the strongest relationships are often the people who stop chasing certainty. Instead of demanding answers, they become open to possibilities. Instead of forcing outcomes, they allow life to unfold. Instead of obsessing over the future, they focus on becoming the best version of themselves today. And strangely enough, that is when everything starts changing. Because confidence attracts. Peace attracts. Authenticity attracts. Growth attracts. The energy you carry today influences the experiences you create tomorrow. That is why this message is not only about a soulmate's name. It is about your journey. Your mindset. Your future. And the person you are becoming. Now imagine something extraordinary. Imagine meeting someone whose presence feels different. Not perfect. Not magical. Not unrealistic. Just different. You feel understood. You feel seen. You feel comfortable. The conversations flow naturally. The silence feels peaceful. The connection grows without force. And one day you hear their name. A simple name. A name that suddenly becomes important because of the person attached to it. That is how life works. The meaning comes from the experience. The power comes from the connection. The name becomes unforgettable because the person becomes unforgettable. And that realization changes everything. Because it reminds you that love is not hidden inside letters. It is hidden inside moments. Inside trust. inside understanding, inside shared experiences, inside the countless memories created together. Now let us go one step further. Close your eyes for a second and imagine yourself 1 year from now. Imagine looking back at this exact day. What would surprise you the most? Would it be discovering a specific name? Or would it be realizing how much your life changed? Would it be the identity of the person? Or the impact they had on your journey? Most people think they want answers. But what they truly want is meaning. And meaningful connections provide something deeper than answers. They provide growth. They provide support. They provide companionship. They provide a sense of belonging. That is why the future remains exciting. Because no matter where you are today, tomorrow still contains possibilities. New people. New conversations. New opportunities. New chapters. And among those possibilities could be a name that changes everything. A name you never expected. A name you overlooked. A name you already know. Or a name you have not encountered yet. The surprise is not knowing. The excitement is discovering. And discovery is one of the greatest adventures life offers. So as this message comes to an end, remember this. Do not become obsessed with finding the answer. Become excited about the journey toward it. Do not focus only on the destination. Appreciate the growth happening along the way. Do not worry about whether the future will arrive. Prepare yourself to welcome it when it does. Because the truth is simple. Somewhere ahead, there are conversations you have not had. Memories you have not created. People you have not met. Opportunities you have not seen. And perhaps among all those future moments stands a person carrying a name that will one day mean more to you than you can currently imagine. A name that today feels ordinary. But tomorrow becomes unforgettable. And when that day finally arrives, you may realize something astonishing. The shocking part was never the name itself. The shocking part was how perfectly everything came together. How every delay made sense. How every lesson had purpose. How every twist in your journey brought you closer to the chapter waiting ahead. And when you finally understand that, you will smile. Because the mystery was never meant to create fear. It was meant to create hope. Hope that your story is still unfolding. Hope that your best chapters may still be ahead. Hope that life continues to surprise those who remain open to possibility. And somewhere beyond today's horizon, a name is waiting to become part of your story. Not because it was predicted. Not because it was guaranteed. But because life has a remarkable way of introducing us to people exactly when we are ready to meet them. And that, beloved soul, is the revelation worth remembering.